Thank you all. Welcome to our workshop for today, November 7th. I apologize for the delay. Calling to order, highest student achievement. We don't have anything special in that regard. Safe and welcoming environment. This is a safe and welcoming environment, so thank you for joining us. Effective and efficient systems, health insurance update. Matt?
So something that we've been discussing as a fringe benefit committee for quite some time is the state and status of our health insurance fund, and also what our long-term plan is there as a district to be able to provide excellent benefits and also sustainable benefits to our employees, because we know both of those things are really important. And it's a very personal thing. Can be an emotional thing. It can be people can be very passionate about it because it affects their health and well-being. And so it's challenging whenever you're talking about change. One of the things that the district has been looking at, the Fringe Benefit Committee has been looking at, is shifting models to see what a high deductible model would look like. And through the course of that, thought it would be good to get some information out to our employees. And fortunately for us, Katie Thunschel and Jim Sherping, both members of our Fringe Benefit Committee, agreed. Maybe I don't know the right word to
we were
voluntold to be a part of putting together a presentation to educate our employees about what it could look like. And they took their show on the road today and did 3 presentations. I didn't attend just so that the dynamics in the room would be what they needed to be. But rather than me try to capture how today went, I thought it'd be good just to see if they'd be willing to share what they talked about, how it went, how they thought it was received, that kind of thing. So just kind of off the cuff, can be casual, nothing official, but yeah, what did you talk about? How did it go?
I thought it went well. A lot of good questions that for clarity and so forth. That it just we talked about what is the plan, why the need for the plan, what are some options we looked at, and why are we bringing the one that we did. We looked at the HRA and those other things we talked about. We talked about some of the myths around these plans and what people might be hearing, and so we tried to clear up some of those. And as Katie and I, each presentation went along, we got a little better at answering anticipated questions that anybody would do. And talked about the current proposal that was brought forward by the district, and kind of just ran through the numbers and stuff. And I don't know, overall, I think you never know what to expect when you do something like this, because like I've told Matt before, there isn't anything more sensitive than changing someone's health insurance. That'll make anyone pucker up pretty quick. And so we knew that going into it, but I would say I was very happy with the responses.
Yeah, change or no change. I mean, the first email I got was from a gal saying, just thank you for this, because regardless of what we go with, she said she usually pushes off health insurance stuff on her husband to figure out. And she's like, for the first time, I feel like I'm understanding. So I think it was just good information out there on what is, what might be. A lot more questions that we have now, that we're kind of rattling around some what ifs that we heard, and some pros and cons and situations that maybe we haven't thought of yet.
I did have the opportunity to go to the first session this morning, and you guys are short-selling yourself. That was an extraordinary presentation. Very well prepared, very well thought out, and it was presented in a manner that was open, accepting, inviting, inviting questions to be on the table. If you have any concerns beyond this, there are places to go. I think you guys did a tremendous job. It's a very, very difficult situation.
We were going to give Kara credit. She made the slides and whatnot. We just kind of put our own little spin on there, and used our own personal experiences to kind of give a little context and a little what if to it. And Mark knows I don't have much of a filter, so I just say whatever comes to my mind and, throw my poor husband under the bus and talk about our situations, and hopefully people can kind of relate and go, how do I fall in comparison to that?
Well, I just came from the arena and invited staff people from the district were up there. All the approachments are very complimentary on the presentations, and it was kind of like, I didn't know the situation we were in, so I echo David's comments, don't underestimate yourself.
I think it was just, the timing was really good when I heard that it was gonna be November 7th, I was like, okay, we're gonna get this. But I think getting it out there early is good. Obviously, when we're talking about benefits or changing benefits is significant. This is something we have to do around a negotiating table, and I think it's important everybody that's here and, listening understands that. But we can't really get to that point unless we have some education going on. So I think the timing was great, and having it come from people like yourselves, I think that's really powerful. So yeah. Anything else?
Any other questions or thoughts? I'm not sure who we have.
I think from a, next step, it's probably gathering. We have a fringe meeting on Thursday, I think.
Mhm.
So it's going to be like checking in, what are those questions that we sort of have to resolve and get to the bottom of. I don't think anybody expected that we would have everything figured out. That's really not what it was about. It was just about, these are some myths, this is some education, let's keep talking. I really believe there isn't anything we can't do here if we don't keep talking, Did I say that right? There's nothing we can't do if we keep talking. That's what I meant to say. So this is just part of that.
I think Katie and Jim both referenced the fact that it's very personal. Every single person in that room had at least their own story, probably two stories if they had family members involved. So it's not a simple thing. People are going to need time to process this, and thank you for getting this information on the table early with accurate information, good answers.
Where did you guys go again?
We started at the middle school, and we invited East to come over, and then some of the smaller buildings like ALC or ISD. We went to West next and invited Cohasset over there, and then we ended up at high school, and we had Big Fork, and anybody else who maybe missed something we went to that one, and then that one was recorded. So we hope to put that up to people.
And did you feel like you drew a good crowd?
We have numbers on that.
From a math teacher.
Not, we had everybody sign in, and so
We tried to have everybody sign.
yeah, obviously, I'm sure we missed some people. But overall, we had 197 people sign in.
Oh, wow.
So,
More than a third of our employees.
yeah. I definitely saw some, like ESPs and service unit folks there, so signing in as like, this is not a contract day. A lot of teacher unit folks signing in as, giving up part of their grading and planning day. So it was good.
Any other?
I just want to thank them for coming in too. I mean, this is, they're at 5:30 after a long day, and I'm sure it's value doing that. So I'm sure you're like ready to mentally check out.
It's funny, you stand and teach
Put
all day, and
sweatpants on and-
it's a different level of
Yeah.
like, when you're
Yeah.
talking to a room full of adults about health insurance.
Yeah.
Like, I do kind of feel like, it's a whole different kind of day.
So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks all. Anything else?
All right. Thanks, guys.
If not, we have the one and only Ann Campbell to present the activities indicator report. Ann?
Well, thank you, school board members and Superintendent Gross. You know how I feel about activities. I believe they're so important for our students, our school, our community, and it's always my favorite thing to talk about. So if we go too long, just give me the old hook and I'll get out of here. But I know I'm talking about last year, but I have to talk about this fall. I mean, we're having an incredible fall. Our football team went 8-0, first time in 15 years. Our marching band had several first place, second place finishes in color guard, percussion, and band performance. Since joining the conference, the Lake Superior Conference, our This is just fall. Our volleyball team took first in the conference, and as you know, they're on their way to the state tournament Wednesday. Our girls tennis team took second. Our boys soccer team took fourth, and they almost upset Cloquet, who ended up, I believe, a third place finish at state. Our girls soccer team, first ever section finals at home. Our first ever all-state student athlete, Abby Berkey, and Coach Moses was also Coach of the Year for Class 2A. Greg Spahn was also Coach of the Year for district, the Northeast District. Girls swim is still competing. They have sections this coming weekend. They're first in our conference. And how about our boys cross country team? 55 years later, they qualified as a team and they went down to the state tournament. That is quite an accomplishment. Back in 1967, when they qualified, we were one class. There were no breakout. There's just one big class. So very proud of our fall. But I'm here to talk about last year, which is always fun to do. Again, thank you to Gigi Pearson, my admin assistant, Nate Linder, the middle school athletic director, and Heather Lovedahl, Big Fork athletic director. These are the programs and schools we serve. And again, this is for 21-22. We believe very strongly in the mission of together teaching and learning for life to achieve excellence. The activities department believes that co-curricular activities are an integral part of our school's total educational program. We believe that 3:30 to 8:30, in my eyes, is the golden ticket. There's so much learning that takes place after school, kind of hands-on real-life moments. Participants in our high school activities have an opportunity to develop and demonstrate leadership skills. And our mission always is preparing students for life, and we are education-based activities focusing on teaching, learning, human growth and development of our students and connecting students to our amazing coaches and advisors. I know you like to look at numbers, so and remember, in 21-22, we were just 1 year past COVID, so our participation numbers increased in every building. So you can see 694 students at Grand Rapids High School participated. That's an increase of 90 from the year before. Fine arts were kind of similar with well over 600 students. So a total of 1,300 student opportunities. At our GEMS, 366 student opportunities. That's an increase of 26 students from the year before. And at Big Fork, we had 133 students participate. And keep in mind, these are, multi-sport athletes being counted, per sport. And fine arts, 18. Total of 130 student opportunities, increase in 21 students. So you can see it's really awesome that we had over 1,800 opportunities for students in District 318. Again, these are all the opportunities and activities and athletics that we provide in fine arts. I love this picture. This was from the parade a couple years ago, the Husky and the Thunderhawk mascot. I want to point out Chad Lovedahl. He retired at the end of last year. He had 20 years as basketball coach in Big Fork. And as you can see, the staff at Big Fork, I think Chad had a little issue with officials from time to time, so they dressed up as officials there. So kind of fun. And then I also want you to notice just some pictures from Big Fork. It looks like one got sideways on us, but look at that, the beautiful football field. We take care of it so well. Basketball team, outdoors here, girls basketball team right there. And if you notice, the cheerleaders look really close, and you can see Heather and Joanne and Sandy in there. A lot of spirit up there. Love it. Some years, boy, if you have a state champion, that's pretty amazing. But last year we had two. We had Addie Albrecht, who is now diving for the University of Minnesota and doing very, very well. She walked on and as a manager, and then before long, there was a spot opened up. So she's diving for the U and took second in a meet just last couple weeks ago. Jackson Weston played football in track and field for us. He was our shot put record holder and broke the school record by, I think, an inch or so. Very, very proud of these two. Jackson is at UMD participating in track. And then last year, a lot of section championships. First time ever for track and field. Girls basketball, repeat section champions. Our baseball team was section champions. Our girls volleyball team was section champions. Our boys football team went to the state tournament for the first time in, I think, I'm not sure, 15 years or so. Girls swim was section 7A champions. Fine arts, we had our two debaters do exceptional. They were our section champions and participated at the state level. Again, there's our amazing percussion from the marching band doing their thing. Outstanding programs. And then our cheer team from last year. I always like to throw in a picture of the students. The first one is our Captain's Council meeting, and then on the right there, looks like it was pink out for cancer awareness at one of our volleyball games.
And can you just talk about Captain's Council in case somebody that's listening online doesn't know about what that is?
Absolutely. When I came here 11 years ago, I started a Captain's Leadership Council because as a longtime coach, you can't just name somebody captain and expect that they know what to do. You have to give them resources, you have to teach them, you have to give them skills, you need to educate them on how to be a leader. And if you can only imagine a 17-year-old or so, 16, 18-year-old trying to lead their peers, you put them in pretty tough situations, especially when they have to maybe manage some conflict along the way. So giving them some tools that they can use, or I think most importantly, they learn that they're not alone. Amongst my 50 captains, you know, how hard is it to be a captain? They all raise their hand. So I'm hoping to build community within my Captain's Council. This Monday, I invite all of you to come up from 8 to 10. I have a team building expert coming in to do activities with them in our gym. And it's really an incredible experience for our students to learn from Rick Rassier. So, so that's Captain's Council. We meet once a month. And yeah, and it's already November. So things are moving. Any other questions about Captain's Council? It's a program I'm very, they're kind of my team. You know, when you're done coaching, you really miss those connections. So I always call Captain's Council my team. And I've been able to travel across the country and talk about how to create and sustain a Captain's Leadership Council. Number of coaches, total number in 318 is 38 head coaches, 110 plus assistant coaches. We all do the coaches dashboard, which is part of the Why We Play curriculum. Full-time athletic director, which is myself. Activities director, which is myself. Part-time middle school AD, and an AD in Big Four part-time. The money, the budget. A lot of good things happened last year. We're, you know, somewhat back to normal, but I mean, costs went up. Transportation was probably the largest of our expenses, along with game staff and officials. Subs went up too quite a bit. Transportation costs estimated to be 50% more due to fuel inflation. So last year we spent 1.5, but we brought in almost comparable to 17, 18, almost $500,000. On this slide, it shows you, here are the fees from the participants. And remember, we increased those fees last year and then again for this year. Gate fees, we had a good gate. And that was an increase in ticket sales. And then the donations, 51,000, and then miscellaneous local revenue of 49. Breakout, again, similar to the teachers. you know, the teachers where the bulk of our salary does go to salaries and benefits, then transportation is that next biggest expense. And then we do pay entry dues and fees out for different tournaments that we're involved in. And then supplies and capital, which cover uniforms, equipment, needs like that. Salary breakout, again, there's the overhead, the coaches' salary, officials and games, and substitute teachers on that one. General fund operating, because of the effects of COVID, the general fund had to cover a larger portion of costs in 2021. In 21-22, as you can see, the revenue to cost ratio decreased, which is a good sign. I think Kara said that we're doing very well right now with our dates and our fees revenue coming in too. Indicators of success. I love this part because our student athletes get the job done in their activity and they also get it done in the classroom. Last year, over 460 student athletes at Grand Rapids. Hume was 3.25. 35 to 40% of our student athletes are multi-sport student athletes, and many are also in the fine arts. But Big Fork, they had about 50% of their student athletes with above a 3.0. I believe that we have very competitive schedules, competitive teams. We have amazing coaches who care, connect, make a difference. We have amazing students that take pride in the arts, the academics, and athletics. Our culture, I believe, is a culture that is nurturing, where commitment to excellence in the 3 A's, academics, athletics, and arts, is a top priority. Again, I've showed this slide every year because it's the truth. Okay, this is from a national study that we know this. Students that feel like they belong to something at their school tend to have higher grade point average, better attendance, less discipline issues, tend to graduate from high school, continue education at a 2 or 4 year trade or college. Participating in activities supports classroom learning by generating school pride, sense of community, and a sense of belonging that makes students want to achieve and represent our school, our schools. Challenges, nothing new here. Mr. Maduri knows, being one of my officials for so many years, we need over 700 officials a year to get to work all of our games at the 3 different schools. So, you know, I hire here and at our gyms over 700 officials to make our games go. Big Fork over 100, and their costs keep going up. They're not going down. And what do? You want to play the game, you have to have officials. So we play and then try to support them with a lot of waters, a lot of thank yous, a lot of appreciation. And again, finding game workers is always something that we do daily, and mental health concerns from post-COVID is always still a concern. Recommendations, I think you always have to continue to talk about facilities. I think there should be probably 5 and a 10-year plan. Locker rooms and weight room, Big Fork, it sounds like that's going to take place starting January, which is awesome. The turf field, I don't need to tell you what a game changer that has been. And I would say going from 35 to 40 to over 400 uses. That field has been magnificent, especially during the summer. We can have marching band color guard on it all day long. And once the fall season starts, we use it from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Adding a new scoreboard at Noble Hall Field, I think, has been a game changer. People that haven't been to our field and they come to our field, they are wow. They are impressed. They want to know more about it. Other schools in the area are now getting the video board. I know a particular school wants to be sure it's about a half foot bigger than ours. So but we have an incredible field, incredible venue. And we are hosting 9-man state football Thursday with Fertile Beltrami coming and Ogilvy coming to play. That wouldn't happen if we did not have a turf field. So kudos and thank you, the school board, for your support of that. Brief narrative, we believe that, we have goals, but we also have our purpose. And we know that our goals are to compete, do the best we can, but our purpose, it goes beyond the scoreboard. And what are we teaching our young people? And it's all about, like I said earlier, teaching and learning, human growth and development, and developing those positive relationships and doing our best. State High School League reported last year, 21-22 males, 133,000 participated in activities, and girls about 122,000. So a total of 255 students participated in some type of activity. So we're definitely going the right direction post-COVID, which is really exciting. In conclusion, we are education-based co-curricular activities. We are an extension of the classroom. We emphasize human growth and development. We reward effort, not just winning. We focus on the process, not just the outcomes. We focus on the student first, athlete second. And again, thank you for your support, continued support for ISD 318 activities. In your narrative that I think Julie sent you, again, I just threw some more highlights in there. I do want to acknowledge our State High School League AAA students last year that excel in arts, academics, and athletics. The candidates from Grand Rapids were Chloe Lee and Eric Overly. Big Fork did not have any nominations. A little bit of a survey in there from the State High School League, and kind of a shorter draft of what I just went through on the indicator report template. Numbers of participants in our programs are in here. Also, I thought it was fun for you to maybe look at across the state, how many participate in which sports and activities, and then expenditures, revenue, member participants, net cost per participant is on the back page there. So I'll open it up for any questions.
And the scoreboard and advertising, has that been a challenge, or to get people to advertise, or businesses to advertise?
It's been wonderful. People see, I don't know if you've seen the professional ads that we put up there. We'll put an ad up, and then a business owner will come up to the press box and say, how do I get one of those up there? And so I think we've sold out our big corner anchors, and I think we've done a really good job. I think they would tell you that they're happy with the number of times that we play their ad. We advertise them in the program also. I think it's going very well. Steve Lynch has done a great job with that, and I think it surprised him too how fast that's taken off.
Off the top, if you know, whatever you're generating dollar-wise.
I don't know, Matt, you know?
I don't know the number either, but I know the last time that I talked to Kara, she said we're on track to pay that scoreboard off based on what we originally kind of included in our business plan. So it's doing what we thought it would do.
I want to go down a different avenue here, but once it's paid off, is there plans to actually put money aside?
Yeah, that's the idea, that money would just get funneled into a kind of a replacement fund for both really for the turf and the board.
Perfect.
There must be a reserve account someplace. I can find
Is that right?
it. It should be.
Well, I think that video board's been so popular. I hope that you look into the future, putting one in the gymnasium to get the banners off the wall and streamline it into a video board. It's really, again, it's a game changer. I mean, it's so impressive. It's so awesome that our community has stepped up to put those ads in there. And a lot of them are about our kids too, so that's wonderful.
Other thoughts, comments for Ann?
Good to miss you.
Thank you. Come on down to the Excel. Girls volleyball plays 5 p.m. on Wednesday night. So, thank you.
Except
Stunning work, Dan. Thank you. Wow. Not to put you on the spot, Bruce, but you got a tough act to follow.
Yeah, I know.
The Anishinaabe Program Indicator Report.
I saw Ann sitting there, I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
We'll scratch something together.
Bruce and Jessica.
I think the clicker's still on there, is it? You good with it?
Let's see.
Okay.
Perfect.
All
Miigwech for giving us the opportunity to present on our program this year, and we're super excited to be here and represent our staff working hard for our kids. So with that, we'll get started. I showed this slide last year, and I'm continuing with it because nothing's changed. We believe wholeheartedly in every one of these bullets. Trust and confidence is the top mission of our program. Traditionally, with American Indian relationships and education, trust and confidence hasn't been there. So it's mission number one, to continue to build that. Reducing the achievement gap. We continue to work very hard with teachers, our teaching and learning department. Really, anywhere we can help, we are targeting and helping kids. Reducing special education referrals is a top concern. It's been an area, not just in Grand Rapids, but in schools nationwide, where there's a disproportionate amount of Native American students that are being referred to special education. It's our job to help mitigate that and to seek other ways of support for kids, not to promote them in special education.
And this is the first year that our special education department did not get tagged for disproportionality of Native American students in our district.
It's a big deal.
And we're working with the special education department, so when the students go through the DART process, they have a place on there where I go in and do cultural observations in different settings.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Project Dreamcatcher and kind of what that conversation's been about to you?
Yeah.
So Project Dreamcatcher, we went down with special education this year. I have been involved with them for 4 years now. And so what it is, it's a group that works with different schools to establish a special education, a part of special education that really focuses on Native American culture, looking at doing cultural observations for students. And so this year, Anna and her team came down with us to the Dreamcatcher training, and we're not at a point yet to go like full force into it. So what we did was we looked at, and within our special education department, what is the most effective way that we can be placed in to do our observations. So now when teachers go into the DART process, they fill out this form for the students, and they'll click if this student is identified as Native American. And with that student being identified, I go in to wherever. I have some observations coming up in Bigford, and I go see the student in 3 different settings, put down my observations of the student. They train me how to observe the student, and being that I'm Native American and from the communities and know quite a bit of these families, that it'll be helpful for the student to get more of a thorough process in the special education department.
We're really trying to make sure that the identification doesn't misread a cultural dynamic and a disability. Right. Yeah.
A big part of that is a representative at the table that kind of knows the unique cultural needs of students that we might not know. So to have that voice at the table, because sometimes cultural behavior is interpreted wrongly. It's interpreted as a negative behavior when culturally it's something completely different. The simplest one is eye contact. Culturally, it's not a practice thing, making eye contact, but for somebody that doesn't know that, might interpret that as disrespect. An advocate for our students, building trust and confidence, it goes right back up to the top. Always being that advocate, always being that voice. Increasing cultural awareness. This is a big piece. This is one of the areas that we take seriously, and we are constantly striving to increase cultural awareness in all of our schools. And we do that by inviting everybody to our activities. I think that is the easiest way for us with the amount of staff that we have, is to invite everybody to our activities. Providing staff development opportunities. Last spring, we had Anton Truer here presenting, and that went over amazing. I'm hoping to do something very similar this year. And then in general, building partnerships across the board with whoever we can find to help us increase that awareness, to help our students and our staff. Here's our staff. Jess is our program coordinator. Ella at the high school. Erica Bobrowski is our new middle school student advocate, and she's doing an amazing job. Samantha Gould at East Rapids, and you'll see a question mark at West Rapids. We're struggling to find a staff person for the West Rapids campus. I think we have somebody coming in next week that we're very hopeful about. But I do want to do a huge shout out to Clayton and Sean over at West. They've really stepped up as building leaders and are doing some really cool stuff to maintain that cultural identity and awareness in their building. It's really cool. And some of the stuff that Clayton, Jess is like, we're dropping the ball. But so we got some great ideas from Clayton. And then Eloise Jackson, our cultural advocate, who goes to all the sites. We're continuing on our non-concurrence goals. We're in year 3 of our goals: visibility, stat development, cultural awareness, and then refine and grow. So this is just a continuous loop that, even though it says goal 3, 22, 23, and we're out of non-concurrence at the conclusion of this year, this document isn't going away. This will continue to be a driver for what we're trying to do. Anything else?
And as you notice, each of the goals for each of the years, we have bypassed those goals because of support from our administration, all of our principals, our teachers. And then when we look at our goal for 22-23, incorporate Ojibwe history and culture in classes, we're doing that in a whole new set of ways. Our student advocates created curriculum based on the 7 grandfather teachings that we put in line with our regular Thunderhawk goals. We're working with Lisa Hainan's Spanish department to bring in the history of the Aztec and the other Southern Native American tribes. And that's just like, we just met last week and discussing how we're going to take care of that, but bringing in one of our parents to come in and teach, because she's Aztec from that area. So utilizing parents that we have, community members that we have to come in and help us, because we just don't have the staff capacity to do so. And then talking about incorporating even language back in the class. Deer River is working on hiring a language teacher, and we are talking with them about doing telepresence for Ojibwe language again, starting spring or fall of next year.
Thanks.
Our program is entirely funded by state and federal grants, and here, this is this year's breakdown of those grants. And I think I mentioned last year that every year we see a decrease in the amount of funding that we get, and the funding is based on the amount of students we have in our district, but the decrease is in proportion to that.
So at the state and federal levels, we're getting decreases. This year, actually, we went up a little bit in federal funding just because of some legislation that was passed. But state-wise, each year, we're dropping about $4,000 just because that's where the Indian education is moving in the State Department.
To be eligible for our program, enrolled, a student that is enrolled in an American Indian tribe or a descendant of. And this is a continuing process of this is where her relationship with families is instrumental, because we'll see students come in and she'll recognize a name or maybe know somebody that from school or something, and go, wait a minute, and be making phone calls. It's really grassroots. People sometimes don't understand that they're considered a descendant based on the definitions, and that they qualify to be part of our program. So we're constantly in the hunt for more enrollment in our program. But as you can see, just because we have enrolled or descendant as our program eligibility students, we want to include everybody.
And we do. When you look at our numbers of our regular caseloads, our student advocates have at least 30, 40 additional students that they work with and provide the same services they do to our program students. And at times, staff kind of doesn't understand that same thing, that we are open to everybody. We're here to support whoever we may need to support, whether it be social, emotional, academically. If I'm going to pick them up to bring them to school, then that's what it is. So it's really knowing that our program is here for student support all around.
Family engagement is a huge part of what we do as well. Breaking down barriers and building trust. We need to have families involved in what we do. And we've concluded a family night already at the dedication of the statue down by the river. And we had a number of families show up for that feast and dedication, which was really cool. Our parent committee, we're always seeking more parents, but we have a strong parent committee. What drives what we do is based on the survey of our students and families. A big part of what we do is a school supply giveaway in the fall, and Jessica is constantly liaisoning with families and seeing what they need. We will find we'll look for any resource to support our kids and families. Program partnerships, we can't do this alone, and I feel very lucky here. We are very lucky that the city of Grand Rapids supports us. I'm very proud of our partnership with Deer River, and we are continuing to build our partnerships with our surrounding school districts. The city of Grand Rapids, you may or may not know this, we are in the middle of transitioning to a new experiential learning site, and that site is going to be located in the pine tree plantation just south of the middle school. Currently, we're in the open field area in between the middle and east, but the city, they cleared out a bunch of trees for us. They built an approach so we can get in there. Now we just need to do some dirt work and some more clearing stuff out and doing some things to be able to start utilizing that site. But it's a really cool site. When we first walked into it, I didn't know how cool it was until we walked in there. Mr. Gross and I were in there. I'm like, whoa, this is going to be perfect. So we're moving forward with that. Our Deer River School District partnership with Achievement Integration and Sarah Schofield, we are getting stronger there. I'm very excited in the direction that we're going. It was kind of floundering last year, but there's a website now created. We're populating that with curriculum from both sites. We're constantly teaming up with staff over there. We just got back from a powwow.
We went on a field trip. We
With
took
Deer
10 of
River.
our students, and Deer River took 29. So I went with Mr. Obie and Miss Jade and Mr. Jackson, and we attended St. Cloud powwow. It was our first time ever taking students to a powwow for the weekend, and we had a blast.
So those partnerships are instrumental, and I think they're great. Here's our data. Grand Rapids is in green, and I'm going to click quickly through these 3 slides, kind of back and forth here. If you look just at the graph, it is good. We are higher than the state average in every category. But when you look at the numbers to the right, we have a lot of work to do. And we don't take this lightly, and we know we can't do this by ourselves. And we want to be a resource for teachers to support kids, but we also want to work closely with our teaching and learning department so that we can be scientific in helping kids close that achievement gap. And we're doing that. We're meeting. We're working hard with the teachers and with Ryan and Jen Chadine to just have our student advocates be able to support our kids. So I'm glad that we're higher than the state averages, but I'm totally not satisfied with those numbers. We need to get better. Graduation rate though, that's pretty awesome.
If I can just jump in on that quick, if you look at the research on achievement gap, two of the things that come out, regardless of whether you're talking about achievement gaps from race or ethnicity or gender or what, two of the things that come out are two of the things that I feel like Jessica and Bruce talked about a bunch. One is relationships, that's a key mitigating factor in achievement gaps, and another one is high quality instruction. You heard them talk about alignment with our teaching and learning department. Our focus on how the brain learns to read for all children will improve and impact our American Indian kids too. And one of the things that is happening that I'm really proud of is the alignment in the work that our advocates and our American Indian staff in our schools are doing, that alignment with our other intervention work. It's not like there's two things going on, it's cooperation to help our kids learn. And so I'm really proud of that.
And when Miss Sue Acree was still here, she pulled me Bruce aside and showed us the numbers during COVID. We actually brought our very high risk students in to the classroom with us. And we had them every single day. And that was the first time ever in Grand Rapids history that the achievement gap didn't get further apart, and we stayed even with the school district numbers.
This slide, elementary support, represents a shift in the program to the elementary school as a foundation for our program. So prior to coming on board with the program, we had a lot going on at the high school, which was really cool, but recognize that we can't build a house without a foundation. So we started focusing our support on that. So a lot of what we've already talked about is on this slide. A lot of intervention, a lot of closing the achievement gap. Attending DART meetings is huge. Our struggling learners, we need to be involved in that conversation. Something else. We are short-staffed. Anyway, we don't have a lot of staff, and we have Cohasset and Big Fork. We wish that we were there full-time, but we're trying to make use of our staff the best way we can. So right now, we get there part-time and support kids the best we can.
So Cohasset runs on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. So with 20 students in Cohasset, we have Nukamis there right now. And what she does is she sees those 20 kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so she works through our curriculum. All of our elementary advocates meet every single Monday to go over what curriculum they're going to use that week. And they establish what they'll be doing in their small groups beyond, like for cultural, beyond academics. And then Grandma works with the STEM program on Wednesdays to do something with math, science, and that is everything from like measuring, making fry bread, to making wild rice pancakes, making wild rice flour, something hands-on for the kiddos to do as to the full classrooms.
Our middle school, 85 students. Erica Bobrowski took over the position of student advocate at the middle school, and she's doing an amazing job. Partnerships with teachers are huge at the middle school because a lot of the middle school mission is that tutoring piece, and that quote unquote lighting fires under students to get their work in, and what's the barrier to doing that? So there's a lot of teaming with teachers, working with students, keeping them on track. If there's something that's going on that they don't feel comfortable talking to their teachers about, she'll step up and be that voice. A huge piece to the middle school puzzle is the social emotional support. Middle school is a very, very tough time for kids. They're finding their identity. They're finding a place that they can trust. And for our native and some non-native students, our Indian education program is that spot. So providing that support is the thing that gets them through those real tough years. And then again, back to the classroom teacher, constantly communicating with the teachers. How can we help? How can we help support kids? And I think that's going really good.
And we're kind of restructuring how the middle school is done. And just reaching out to teachers and getting advice, getting feedback. Ms. Kopp and Mr. Lyons have been awesome to work with Erica. Like, they have a good working relationship. They tell us some hard things sometimes. They tell us some good things sometimes. They'll give us honest feedback with what really we should work on and how to establish the kiddos coming down and who has missing assignments, how to look at these. And so it's been a good working relationship with the teachers and getting the feedback and switching up how we need to do things, and it's moving along.
Our high school is amazing. Ella Cummings has really brought some really, really good stuff to the high school. She is just a rock star when it comes to supporting kids social emotionally. She had the idea of American Indian Education elective credit, which last year was awesome. We had kids taking advantage of that. She's continuing with that. She's supporting the ALC this year, where last year she wasn't over there. And we're super excited with the high school, and we continue to, we don't have a lot of staff, so we're constantly brainstorming how can we support the high school in a more complete way, knowing that we shifted towards the elementary. We don't take that lightly.
And that medallion on there is actually a medallion a student finished for one of their cultural elective projects.
Nice. It's beautiful.
Big Fork, we wish we could get there more. Right now, we visit once a month, and we also make sure that they are invited to everything we're doing, and then provide the logistics to get them there so that we take that barrier out. It's one of our goals is to how can we get to Big Fork? How can we support Big Fork more? And I wish we could do more, but we are constantly, the question's always asked, what about Big Fork? How are we going to support Big Fork?
And Big Fork gets the goods of the Indian education cultural part of our program. They get to go there, and every once a month they do the hands-on fun. They have food projects there, so we do a lot of cooking up there and things like that.
Cultural education is backbone to our program as well. It's a delicate dance between the academic side of helping kids, giving them the tools to be successful in our world, but also not losing touch with how we got here. So our cultural advocate, Eloise, really supports us in helping come up with and refining our experiential learning activities. Right now, our Sugar Bush and our Ricing are the two big ones. We do Ricing in the fall and Sugar Bush in the spring, but storytelling in the winter. It's going to snow, I think, the end of this week. Culturally, for Native people, Ojibwe people, we don't start storytelling until the snow touches the ground, which will be, I think, Thursday. So I'll hold my deer hunting stories till then. But anyway, we're excited about that, and we're constantly seeking, we're constantly brainstorming what more can we bring to the kids and to the program, and utilizing any resource we can find, and that's where our partnerships are so important.
And our big presentations that we do with Sugar Bush and Wild Ricing, over 1,000 students come and attend those from Rapids, Big Fork, St. Joe's. And here's another wonderful thing that we do, since we don't have the staff capacity to sit and do this. So we visit 3 classes every single hour. And what we do is we take some of our middle schoolers in our 5th grade classroom. We teach them everything about sugar bushing and wild ricing, and our students go out and present for us. And so we have kiddos whose parents are like, I'm not sure if they'll speak up. I'm not sure if they'll do this. This one had a stutter, and he's like, I'm too scared to. So I'm like, you got it. And these kids just shine.
Our celebrations, the drum at graduation last spring was awesome. And we intend to, and I know we have your support to carry on that as a tradition for our program celebration. I think nothing moves cultural awareness along better than song. And it was really cool. Our high school elective credits, our experiential learning, Indigenous Peoples Day, our drum and dance groups, how we support kids through the DART process, family engagement, our partnerships, and participation with cultural teachers. We just recently had a number of kids participate and be able to go to Thomas X, a native singer, and a rapper with a really awesome message for kids.
And Keith Sokola and Annie Humphrey reached out to me to come in and do some songs with our middle school and high school kids. So that's in the works right now, this month.
And what are we working on? We're constantly brainstorming that new experiential learning site. Like I said, there's trees cut and an approach made. We have a lot of work to do there. You'll see on there the second bullet, the Blandon Foundation grant opportunity. Jess has applied for a grant through Blandon, and we're going to find out this week if it gets approved. It's a really big grant, and the dream behind it is to create a experiential learning site that the community can use, that we can bring people in with a learning lodge, powwow area. I mean, a number of different activities and experiential learning things that we can't afford as a district to do or a program. Right now, it's in complete visionary stage, and we could, by the end of the week, be moving pretty fast. And so stay tuned to that. We're going to need some help if this comes to life, but we're super proud of that. And I think Grand Rapids could be kind of a hub of this cultural awareness. It could bring the community to another spot and another resource for the community that our kids and people can use. So look forward to that.
And before submitting the proposal for this grant, I have been in communication with all the Indian education program coordinators from around Minnesota. And so we even have interest in like students from the cities coming down when we do sugar bushing, when we do wild rice, when we do those kind of things, because there's nobody producing those kind of experiences for students to go out and see.
Continuing to work on our staffing. We have really, really good student advocates, an amazing liaison, cultural coordinator, and they're great people, and we're looking for somebody at West. So we're continuing with that. Just talked about a parent from the Aztec tribes who said she was going to make me a tamale.
She made them.
Anyway, middle school, high school lacrosse team. Deer River has great traditional lacrosse, but they don't have anybody to play against. And Jess came to me this morning, and sure, when that Deer River solved that problem. So
Deer River wants us to create a lacrosse team with our middle school and high schoolers, just like a unofficial kind of lacrosse, old traditional lacrosse. And they're like, we can meet up once a week and we can play against each other. They're like, there's this one student on our team that you guys need. And that student actually happens to be my kid that I didn't know can play lacrosse so awesome and knew all these rules and everything. I do talk to my kids. But you need to get him over to set up your lacrosse team. So that's going to be some topic.
just Sherwin's like, we need somebody to play against. It's the only way we're.
They go out to bug
Yeah.
school and then they're like, we want Rapids.
Field trips and collaborations, and then our ELC support this year is awesome, and we're continuing to refine that.
You skipped over snow snakes.
Oh, I did, didn't I? So creation of snow snakes for classroom contests. I don't know if you know what snow snakes are. It's a traditional Ojibwe game played in the snow, and kids or participants will find a branch that they turn into their own unique snow snake. And then the game is played by creating a track, and you see how far you can get your snow snake to slide down the ice. So it is really cool to see. And last year at East Rapids Winter Fun Day, they were playing snow snakes on the lake over here, and those things were flying across the lake at an incredible speed.
It's snow snakes that probably go from the ground to about this high. And you design them yourself. So what we did was we ordered 30 snow snakes from this other Indiana department. Her husband makes snow snakes. So we ordered 30 unfinished snow snakes. So kids have to sand them down. The kids are gonna have to create their own design for their own. And we are gonna be having some snow snake contests this winter.
Meet Which. We are proud of our program, but we look forward to where it's going to go. We're not satisfied before where we're at, and we know that it's going to take a lot of work, but very excited on the path that we're on.
Any questions?
Not a question specifically for you to Matt, more so to you. What do we know about the funding from the state in regards to the Indian Net program? Is there something we can maybe advocate legislatively for an increase? Is it something to Minnesota Department of Education where the funding comes from the state?
Yeah, the big change a number of years ago, and I had a first kind of a front seat view of it because it used to be competitive, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And you know, back to MREA and the benefit of being a part of that group. MREA put together a advocacy group to advocate for more permanent formula-based funding. And I'll never forget, because I was in the meeting, and I was the co-chair actually of the group. And Brenda Casilius, the commissioner at the time, said, "Don't ask for that because you'll never get it." And we talked about it, and we're like, that's what we need. We don't care if the commissioner's saying don't ask for that. So we did, and it ended up going through. So it wasn't competitive anymore. It ended up being more fun, but because it's tied to pupil units, you know, that has that variability. It's a base amount plus an amount per pupil.
That competitive was,
Success for the future.
it depends if they liked you or not.
Yep.
Or if you were, we said, you know, yeah, I'll do this for you, or just, we got it 1 year and then somebody didn't like somebody and.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you did. Yep.
So on a per pupil unit basis, there must be a dollar amount that's tied to that, right?
Yes.
Is that something that you could advocate
Yep.
legislatively?
Yep. I think it's
An increase?
Yep. Yep.
That would be at the MRA conference coming up in the State School Board Association. I mean, if we, I don't know how many years it's been decreasing. You said it's been decreasing about $4,000.
Every single year I've been,
Thank you, Anna.
How long have you been here? I guess?
4.5 years.
Right? That's like $20,000.
That's a chunk of money.
Yeah.
And just an observation from my standpoint, and we're sending our advocate to ALC once a week, and yet we're only going to Big Court once a month, and we got 27 students up in Big Court, 37 students, whatever it was. I don't like that. We have more students in Big Court than we do in Glass, and we're going to Glass twice a week, and we're going once a month in Big Court, so just throw that out there.
Minneapolis changed some of their policies on smudging. Is that something you'd like the board to consider here?
So we talked about that, and The short answer is yes. The longer answer is we need to tie that in with some education around smudging before we just do it.
Okay.
And we talked about that, but we haven't really got off the ground with how we're gonna do it. But I think it's a great awareness
Yeah.
thing. And it's a very powerful spiritual thing we can do with our schools and our sites.
And so right now at the Deer River High School, they smudge, I want to say at least once a week. So
I
they're-
myself am in favor of changing, work. Wow, I think it probably a few years ago or something. But you have to be prepared for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it is about education and
Yep.
educating people. And then we talked about creating a policy on graduation. Like if the students want to beat their hats, if the students want to wear a medallion, we will work through our cultural elective to establish if the students, that's something they want to work on throughout the year. And so that's some discussion later on. And
In regards to the smudging, is there some policy guidelines that other school
Well,
districts?
you're not allowed smoking in school districts.
No, I understand that.
Yeah. And so Minneapolis changed it. I imagine there's another one someplace.
Where I was getting at, is there something we as a board can sit down and take a look at how other schools are doing it, what their guidelines are, policy, whatever you want to call it.
I can forward that to you.
So we're not reinventing the wheel, so to speak,
Yeah.
if we ultimately get on that.
Well, I'll work with you and Julie and I'll work with you to track something out.
You're not done.
Oh, I just grabbed my water.
I understood that you've done a survey. Is that something that can be shared with the board, some of that information?
So we do a family and student needs survey every single year. And we do it for the Johnson O'Malley program and just for our own knowledge of where parents would like to see our program moving. Like in academics, how are we rating with your student in academics and assisting them there? Family needs such as just even helping with food. Like there's times I help these families go get food. I go pick up food for them, bring it to their house. Culture-wise, what do the families want to see come out of Indian education? Our staff is here for our students and our families. And as a program, how can we provide what they need? So we have probably like 8, 9 questions on there, and then just comments on what they would like to see, what they're not seeing. And so the feedback we get from that is actually quite positive. When we first started, it was not. We had a lot of looking at this, like where are we gonna stand? How are we gonna base our new strategies off of looking at these surveys? So now when we do our parent surveys, they come back, we do it at our backpack pickup. We get over 100 families come to the backpack pickup to get supplies and backpacks for their students. And so that's when we do it. And our parents are very pleased with the way the programming is moving. And I'm not just talking about the parents who can come to our family fun nights. I'm talking about the parents where I'm going to their house because they don't have transportation, bringing them things, giving them surveys. We see our elementary and middle school. We see 100% of our elementary students in 1 week. That includes our program and non-program students. Our middle school level, we're sitting at about a 56, 57% of our middle school students, just because we have scheduling conflicts with 6th grade because of band and choir, and that's important. And then our high school, we sit at about probably a 37% of our students who wish to utilize. And so I reach out to those parents of the students who don't want to utilize the program in high school and middle school level too, to see their take on what they want. And usually it's because the students are honestly too busy.
Yeah.
Or they're taking some advanced classes, or they're in this many extracurricular activities. It's not because of the programming itself. And some families never even knew that programming existed. And so it's just bringing more awareness to families and the community, and we're making those small steps.
Thank you. I know that I have from time to time gotten invitations when there have been gatherings and things like that, and I hope that you will feel free to include board members when gatherings are happening, so that we might be there to support your cause. I personally am very, very impressed with the direction that you're working. And Bruce, to echo what you said, you're not there yet. But the direction you're going, I personally fully support this, and I share your vision. I want Grand Rapids to be the place that people talk about when they say, you know, where Indian education is really happening. I want this to be the program. And if the support that you need, let us know.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm done yet. Oh. So, well, if that isn't between Ann's report and the Shanabi report, if that doesn't get your blood going, nothing will. Matt, what do you have for us?
That, you know, that's it. I think, you know, I hope that you continue to hear alignment when we talk about things, whether that's the health insurance side of things and what we're trying to do with resources, or, you know, when Ann's talking about leadership development, teaching, learning, and, you know, belongingness, and then to Bruce and Jessica talking about helping kids see themselves and be themselves here, the work they're doing alongside our DART teams. I think one of the cool things, if you go to our buildings now, you can tell that we know we are in Ojibwe country. And I think that's really important. So I think that's cool. And my hope and dream for this site is off the charts. I mean, I can't wait for the day when people are traveling from Minneapolis to come to the site to see something they can't see anywhere. And I think that's not a crazy goal. It's an attainable reality.
What needs to be done? Yeah.
I think, you know, this grant, I think, will be a big piece around funding, but I also know, and I've talked to Bruce a little bit about this, where when we're ready from like a design and concept and what we want to do there standpoint, I think it's going to really take off. I mean, I think there are people that are going to be very interested in helping to support this. I've got a couple that are like, let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready. So I think a lot of it is just design and what we want to do there. You know, it's when you've been to the space, I think, or know where it is, it's awesome. And you really want to do it right. And so I think there's a lot of just being careful about where we put things. And I did call to Leech Lake and let the education director know, like, we're working on this. And if she hears of anything or wants to know more, to let us know that too, just because I think that's really important that the tribe's aware that we're working on this too. So I think it's just about design and figuring out what it is that we exactly want to do there. And then it will be, how do we go about making the construction and that kind of stuff happen.
How much did you ask for?
I can't remember. I think it was maybe 500, 250. It was 250 or 500. I can't remember.
Any projected cost, or is it just?
No, Jessica really took the lead on that. I didn't.
I sit on the Marduk Foundation for the cities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this would probably fit into that.
Yeah.
And I would give you a call then.
Okay. Yeah.
Your contact over.
Okay. That's good to know.
With that, is there any other business that should come before the board today? Election day tomorrow, be sure to vote.
Anybody in particular?
No comment. With that in mind, thank you all. We stand adjourned. Okay, I'm embarrassed. What's DART?
Data action and response team. So